you looking to optimize your mindset and lifestyle for success in today's business world? You're in the right place. This is where you get to build your freedom through promoting through Facebook and selling on Amazon. Welcome to Actualize Freedom with your hosts, Wilson and Danny.
This is the Actualize Freedom Podcast, the no bullshit podcast for hacking your freedom through selling on Amazon and lifestyle optimization. My name is Danny Carlson, and today we have on Rob Shad. He's a 20-year-old first-time entrepreneur that made $275K in his first 13 months on Amazon. That's including one single month where he did $140K in sales. That is pretty impressive. So guys, I had the pleasure of meeting Rob at Capitalism Conference down in Austin back in December, and we just really hit it off. He's just a super generous guy with his information. He's always trying to help people out, and he kind of fits that quintessential stereotypical millennial entrepreneur kid. Who just makes a bunch of cash online so he can travel the world on his own terms. And, let's be honest, that's what a lot of you guys want to do that are listening, I'm sure. So let's just jump right into things here. So Rob, where are you at right now? You just got into a new place a couple of days ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome intro, Danny. Thank you very much. And I am in Medellin, Colombia. First stop in the digital nomad lifestyle I'm building for myself.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So what are your plans as far as traveling around? You're starting off in Medellin and then you have a whole plan laid out, or are you just kind of going for it and seeing where it takes you?
I started just booking some flights. So I'm doing a month here, doing a month in Austin, doing a couple weeks in Barcelona, in Dubai. Then after that, I think Greece. Then that takes me to the middle of the year, and I'll just see what flights I can find for pretty cheap and go there. I'm looking at Bali, though. Probably a month or two in Bali, and apparently Bali's huge nomad culture there. Same thing with Medellin, but Medellin and Bali are massive nomad culture. Pretty much why I came here to begin with.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I actually considered going down to Medellin back in September. I got a few buddies that are doing the same thing down there, and yeah, the entrepreneurial community, the digital nomad community is just massive down there, right? Mm-hmm. And and what's the cost of living like right now?
I have a awesome 3-bedroom apartment, really nice neighborhood, and it's like for me and my buddies, it's $400 a person for the month. Insane. Then going out to eat, we're paying like for food and a beer, so like wings and a beer. Super American, right? going to get wings in Colombia, but it was $8 for 2 beers and wings at dinner. I'm like, holy shit! You can't get. You go to Buffalo Wild Wings, you're paying like $35 for that.
Yeah, that is freaking awesome, man. So that's awesome that you're traveling around. So how do you mix in the work to your play? So what does a typical kind of work schedule look like? Because you can kind of work whenever you want and go play whenever you want, right?
Yeah, that's it. I feel like it's going to be a little tough because there's beautiful women down here that can make it extremely hard to concentrate. So I'm really going to be tough on myself and essentially say, here's what I want to do today. Here's what I want to do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Create like weekly goals. If I don't hit my weekly goals, I'm not going to go out and enjoy it. So basically just being super hard on myself because I do run my Amazon business and Amazon agency and do coaching as well. So I have a lot on my plate to keep me busy, and I could easily just have a month vacation and not work at all. But I have commitments and businesses that I want to keep on growing and running. So it's going to be a nice little mix.
Yeah, no, I feel that, man. I think that's really smart to do the work first and get it done first so that you can reward yourself with the play, right? Because you can so easily get caught up in just, playing first and then you never actually I'm not going to work today. I'm just going to go karts or go out to the bar and meet some Colombian women or something like that.
Absolutely.
So one thing I've heard is that you've cultivated a habit of buying the person behind or in front of you at the cafe in line a cup of coffee every day. And why do you do that?
Yeah, actually, I saw it on a Facebook post once. Someone posted about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try this. So the next day I went in, I bought someone a cup of coffee. This was a couple months ago. And there was this other person, they lit up. They were shaking my hand for like 5-6 times. And then I just had an awesome conversation with them. So I got into the habit of doing it because I see the person who I buy the coffee for, they honestly light up. They're like, oh my gosh, I'll pass this on. And for me, it's it's just spreading positivity, like spreading just like good vibes to other people. And it's just an awesome way to like hear people's story. Like obviously you buy someone coffee, I'm going to talk to them for a couple minutes. At one time, this guy, he just had two twins. It was like, he was like, yeah, I'm on my way. I'm on the way to the hospital right now. And I had two like identical twins. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, and I just love that kind of like creating that connection. Whereas like a lot of people, they're sitting in line for coffee at a Starbucks. Everyone's just like straight up, just like looking at their phone, like only worried about themselves. I'm like, you know what? I want to try to meet some people around me. Cause I find other humans are completely fascinating. And actually with that, I'm starting a YouTube channel. I haven't released anything yet. It's in the works where I'm going to go buy people coffee and essentially video it. Then if the person's okay, see if I can talk to them for 5-10 minutes and get some video content, video and audio content that I could turn into a YouTube channel and essentially create a channel all about going and buying people coffee and try to create a movement out of it just to spread positivity, spread good vibes.
Oh man, I absolutely love that idea because I'm in Vancouver, BC, Vancouver, Canada, and it's considered like a really kind of closed off city. Like where I'm from a small town called Kelowna, about 4 hours away from Vancouver, and people are just a lot more open there. Like you can start conversations with like strangers on the bus, and that's kind of a normal thing in public. But in Vancouver, there's almost like an unspoken rule that, you know, you don't talk to people in public, like especially on transit. It's like you are the weirdo. You're like a creep almost if you're like starting conversations on transit, right? So I'm a big believer in your movement. I think that would be amazing, starting that YouTube channel and like really affecting people in that way. Because in a similar way, I try to like be more open to strangers and meeting new people like that. But like, you know, you and I are the weirdos. You know, the norm is to be closed off and to not meet people, right? So I think that's great. So I mean, another thing as well is that you're a super young guy. You're 20 years old. So what I want to know is what gave you the drive to go dive in and start this business when all of your friends are off, you know, going to university or working at a bar, going and getting drunk, right?
That's for me, it was that I always wanted to create something. So I always wanted to like build a business. When I was younger, I grew up, my dad runs a small gourmet popcorn business out in Pittsburgh. So I worked in his business from the age of 8. And growing up in that entrepreneurial lifestyle really like shifted how I looked at life, how I looked at like whether to go to college or not go to college. And I was actually planning on going to college because my mom was really pushing it. My dad, not so much. My mom was really pushing it and had a like full on academic scholarship, had a spot on the baseball team. And literally the day tuition was due, it was August 14th, 2016. I'm like, Mom, no, don't pay it. And I didn't pay it. And that started my opt-out life. And it's been pretty blissful from there. But it was a decision where I knew no matter what, going into college, I wanted to drop out and start a business. So going into it with that mindset's probably not the best mindset to do good in college and succeed in college. And I'm just like, I don't want to waste my parents' money or my parents and the school's money and my time. So why don't I just go do it anyways?
That's a really good point. I can definitely relate to not wanting to go to college, but like, was there any kind of like urgency, like it just like college just wasn't for you, or like, did you just really hate sitting in class, or was there any kind of negative driver towards you going to start in this business?
Okay. So most people who like don't go to college or opt outs normally are like, I wouldn't say like not smart, but I was like your typical 4.0, like 4.0 GPA, like law school track. You know what I mean? Like I was a good student, 5 AP classes senior year. So it wasn't that I hated education. It was, I didn't see the education that was going to be given at college to be beneficial for the time I would have to put in to get that education. I didn't find it. I didn't see the benefit of doing that. I'm like, you know what? I don't see the benefit. I feel like I'm just going to waste my time, and I can do this on my own. I don't need a business professor to teach me how to run a business when I have a dad who runs a business, and he never went to college to run a business. He just started it and figured it out. So that was kind of my perspective going into it. And again, kind of growing up in that entrepreneur life, that's what I knew growing up. And I'm like, you know what? That's what I want to do with my life. I want to create my own freedom. I want to build my own destiny. I want to build versus work for someone, have that freedom, like be able to live in Medellin for a month.
Oh man, Rob, I wish I had that same insight when I was your age. Because I was your friends who were off partying and just doing whatever the heck. I didn't realize that for another 5 years fully. So yeah, very lucky that you're doing that. So let's hop into the Amazon stuff. So for your very first product, I mean, one of the biggest questions that people ask me and my partner Wilson on the podcast is, how much money does it take to get started? How much money did you invest for your first product or your rounds of however many products it was? Just tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, my first product, I had $5,000 out of my college fund, actually, that I invested.
Straight out of the college fund. I love it.
Straight out of the college fund. Then once I launched a product, I'm like, okay, this is, and I started going through the process. I'm like, okay, I need a little bit more capital at this point. And I had another $5,000 in a college fund. And essentially, I just got my whole college fund to launch the business and to go start with. So I had right around 10K, which is it seems like when I talk to people, that's more in the upper end when people have capital. I know a lot of people are like the 2,000 to 3,000 range that normally think about it. Honestly, in my opinion, I think you want to have around 4 to 5 at least, with the ability to either have a credit card or more cash for an inventory reorder.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you brought up. I think a lot of people, they say like I have, for example, $5,000. And they think that that's just enough to get started. They spend the whole $5,000 on getting that inventory to Amazon without realizing that you're going to have to buy the second round of inventory afterwards before you actually get paid for that first round, and the marketing and all of that stuff. You're right. So how much of that, you say the 5,000, was that for the initial product? And then you took out the additional 5,000 to kind of fund the growth of that, like to pay for the second round of inventory before you got paid for the first?
Yeah, so the initial product ended up costing $7,000 after shipping and everything like that. So I kind of went like, and this was literally like I ordered the product the day after I graduated from high school. So I was like, okay, I'm done with high school. I'm ordering this. I'm getting it going. So that cost me around $7,000. I mean, I had some business expenses like just like the LLC and stuff like that. I use LegalZoom and I needed it rushed. I paid like $600 for that. Then I started my consulting stuff. I opened up a business on my own, did it on my own on the website, and paid $125. So save yourself the $500. You do not need like LegalZoom to start the business. So that was like one of the expenses I ran into. Then just kind of like doing the PPC ads and stuff like that. I got not lucky when I launched, but I had a awful listing, no optimization or anything. I just launched a hot product. Not a hot product. I launched a product at a hot time. So it was October, and I launched a product that freaking explodes in October. And I sold like 17,000 in 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh crap, I need to order more. And for me, I actually ran into having way too much inventory for a while because I got stuck. The demand fell. Like it was like one of those like whoop and then down, and demand goes up, then goes down after October, and I kind of got stuck with a lot of inventory for a couple months till the summer when the product picks up again.
Well, I mean, that's certainly one of the best scenarios for a product launch there. You launch and right away it's like October, it's your big season, you're selling a whole bunch. And I mean, while you learned some lessons there too, you also made a whole bunch of profit, right? That's pretty much best case scenario.
Yeah.
So when you made that initial, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I took the profits from that and just funneled into a second product, which was actually not a successful product. So I was sitting on that inventory for a while. Great learning lesson though. I went to launch clipboards, and learned the lesson of essentially having a product that's somewhat cool and that you can actually write solid copy for, and not going and competing purely against manufacturers. That was a major takeaway. And I've seen some people show me products similar. I'm like, no. This is like way too like cut and dry. You're not going to be able to write killer copy, and you're going to compete against manufacturers who are able to just slash the prices on their stuff when competition comes in.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. So when you made that initial investment, how certain were you that it was going to work out? Was it a big kind of gamble in your mind, or were you pretty confident in your research and your numbers and everything like that?
I was pretty confident with the product. I was actually really confident with the product, and I was under the mindset of like, you know what, I'm going to make this work out. I wasn't scared of failing because I've had like mini failures throughout high school. Like I lost like $1,500 in 2 days trying to flip World Series tickets. So like the money part of it wasn't that major of an issue. Like I didn't feel like I'm like, okay, if I lose the money, it's one thing. I'll work for my dad. I'll try to start from the ground up. So like the money part of it wasn't a big deal. For me, it was just like, I want to make this work to kind of prove to myself and kind of prove to the outside world, which I found out I really don't care about now, that I can be successful without going to college.
Yeah. And I mean that hasn't really been the case for that long, but I think especially for your generation, people are growing up, like graduating high school, in the past 5 years and to come now, like it almost makes more sense to go start your own freelancing or your own business than it does to
Absolutely.
go to college for 4 years. And by the time you're done after 4 years, what you learned is quite likely actually irrelevant now because technology moves so fast.
Yeah.
So like, it makes more sense just to go jump in and be in a business because you're constantly learning. The market teaches you real-time lessons, whereas university will teach you lessons that maybe are for 10 years old, 15 years old, who knows, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, no. Yeah.
So how was your launch strategy for the first couple of products? And do you still use the same launch strategy now or has it changed?
Yeah, that first product, I didn't really have a solid launch strategy besides PPC. Again, just really lucky. Like I would love, I should have screenshotted the listing because if I showed you the listing, you would cringe. It was bad. So that, and honestly, that was actually a good thing that it kind of fell off because then it forced me to go really learn copywriting. So I bought copywriting books to learn copywriting, then a specific copywriting book purely for Amazon copywriting and spent like $500 on that. Best investment in my life. Literally conversion rates tripled overnight. Started indexing for more keywords. Besides the point though, to get back to your question, my launch strategy right now, I kind of look at the niche. I look at the competition. So if it's like really heavy competition, then I probably go and do a giveaway. If I'm like, you know what, there's not a ton of competition, not a lot of people selling my product, I can go and do PPC and I'll just go heavy with PPC.
Okay, so you mentioned the copywriting book. For people who are interested in that, which book was that you read? Like maybe your top one, and then maybe any other ones that you thought were super valuable. Yeah,
the Amazon one. I know the guy's name is Dana Derricks. I don't know the exact name of the book. I have it in my room. I can grab it. I'll send you the link so you can.
Yeah, if you can send it to me, then I'll put it in the show notes for you guys so you can go check that out. Because it sounds really valuable for sure. And then, so at Capitalism Conference, you mentioned that you see yourself selling your business. Is there a reason why you prefer to sell it when it's still like a fairly young business and just take the money out instead of growing it into a much larger business? What's the reason for that?
Yeah, the way I look at it is I have a massive brand I want to launch, and I look at my current business as startup capital for that brand. Versus reinvesting the profits. I'm like, you know what? I can get a nice chunk of startup capital where I don't need outside investors. I don't need anything else. And how I'm looking to build this next business, it's a lot of startup capital because I'm still going to use Amazon to launch the products, essentially how I'm going to start it. But I'm going and hiring designers and probably content writers to really build a community around the products as well. So very high startup costs. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to use my current business as the capital to go ahead and do it. So
that's awesome. So like basically the current Amazon brands that you have right now, it's not what you're passionate about, but you want to use the Amazon products to fund a business that you're actually passionate about.
Absolutely.
I love that idea, Rob. And yeah, I mean, I kind of see it the same way. Like I'm a young guy as well. I'm 26. Not quite as young as you. I wish I knew what I knew when I was your age. But yeah, I see this Amazon opportunity as a really great opportunity to position myself at a young age to have the capital to go after something like really world changing and something really that I'm super passionate about. You know what I mean? Something that's actually capable of making a big change in the world. And these Amazon products, they may not be that right now, but it gives us that opportunity to do that in the future, which I think is really amazing. So It's been really great to talk to you, Rob. Before we sign off here, I want to ask you one more question. So what advice do you wish someone gave you during your first few months selling on Amazon, looking back?
Definitely like get your copywriting down. Like that's what I wish I knew whenever I started, was the listing, having an optimized listing with optimized copy, really selling your product. Then what I tell a lot of people is, at least like when it comes down to copywriting, when someone searches your product in Amazon, they are already saying, I want to buy this product. Whenever they go in the search bar and type in laptop, they're already saying, I want a laptop. Now it's your job in your copy to convince them to buy your laptop versus someone else's laptop. You don't need to convince them to buy a laptop. You need to convince them to buy yours. And that was like a major like turning point when I started like shifting my copies. Like, okay, they already want my product. I don't need to sell the features. I need to sell the benefits.
Oh, I absolutely agree on that. I'm a bit biased because my agency, Kenji ROI, does a lot of copywriting, but copywriting, absolutely super, super important. So Rob, it's been great to have you on, man. Really inspiring to see what you're doing as such a young guy, just going for it, like literally straight out of high school. What's your college fund? Just dumping that into the Amazon. Love that, man. And you're just freshly down in Medellin to start off your world traveling experience here as your new digital nomad journey, so to speak. So thanks for hopping on with us. And I'm sure the audience got a lot out of this episode. So make sure you check out the show notes, guys. That'll be at actualizefreedom.com/8. I'll get Rob to send me over the links to those copywriting books and stuff like that. You can also check out, the YouTube video or transcript, and make sure you go leave a review. Head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review or a 1-star review. I might be a little bit, my feelings to be hurt if you do that, but head over there and give me a true opinion. I like to hear what you guys think. So thanks for joining us, Rob, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you very much, Danny.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Actualize Freedom with Wilson and Danny, online at actualizefreedom.com. If you like today's episode, please review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.